What up, y'all? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Forge Special Edition. I don't have long, as I just stated, and will be pinning to the top. Not here for a long time, but we here for a good time. Now, let's see here. I gotta change this still. This is a last-second decision. Just get out here just to be available for any of y'all's, needs. And then I gotta get back to work. But I figure I'll be here till like 8 o'clock. So, video. Let's resize this sucker. Let's go. Maybe not that big. We don't really need to see me that well, do we? Maybe right around there. Yeah. And then we can put a little background on that sucker. Eventually here. This one. I guess. Purple. This was from the Halloween, which unfortunately I dropped that visual. It would have been nice to have for this purpose. Halloween design. We'll make this stick out. Hold up. Color properties. Select color. Just give me a red. That's all we need. Boom. There we go. Centered more. And then just like move these to the corners, maybe. Call that a dizzy. There we go. That, I don't know how centered this ended up being here. Oh, pretty close. Wow. Okay. Alright, so I don't know if people will show up or not, but we are here. I am going to work on uploading my video for tomorrow morning while I wait and see if anybody has any questions. Once again, really just popping on last second here to answer any kinds of questions. I didn't really make you guys too aware of the fact that I'd be available. There we go. Josh, what up? Trade Dell and Mostert for James Cook. Am I a little dark? Do we need... Probably wasn't quite dark, but there we go. All right, 16 man. Wow, PPR. So thin. I mean, I feel like probably yes. Dak, Achane, Mostert, Lamb, DJ Moore, David Njoku, Dell. Notable bench guys: Downs, Charbonnet, Ross, Caleb Williams. Oh, you got a lot of quarterbacks. So you're going to be able to pick up something, but obviously, well, there's a few wide receivers that popped up. You're going to be getting James Cook, so you could pick up a wide receiver off the waiver wire potentially. There might be something a little bit. I definitely don't hate the trade, Josh. I don't love holding on to 3 quarterbacks. I guess in a 16-man league, there is something to say about having a little bit of ownership on the quarterback cartel there. Achane, Mostert, Lamb, DJ Moore, Njoku, Dell. You've got Downs, which is nice. Running backs are thin, but they're thin either way. Yeah, generally speaking, I would say, there's a chance you'll regret the trade, Josh, but I tend to think you're probably getting the better end of that deal there for James Cook. So I'm happy with it. Marcus, C, how do you feel about the Jets defense this week? Not great. As somebody who's been rolling out the Jets defense. Who are they playing against again? So I'm not going to be here for too long right now. This was a last-second decision while I'm pulling up defenses here. To go live, just in case people had questions, I figured why not be available for a little bit. But then I got to go right back to work on my running backs video. Currently in the process of trying to upload the wide receiver video while I answer these questions. Currently the video is processing on my computer. Let's see here. Yeah, against Houston. Yeah, not great. It obviously is very much helpful that they might be without Nico Collins. They're definitely going to be without Stephon Diggs. I think Joe Mixon's the one that hurts them the most, probably. They will have him. That's been their biggest weakness. It's been not too inspiring being a New York Jets defensive owner this year so far, in my experience. I don't know what they're ranked. I mean, I guess it felt good for a little stretch earlier this year, but yeah, it's been a while. 2 points, negative 3 points, 2 points in last 3 weeks. I'm not expecting a whole lot different. I'm gonna play somebody else if possible, if there's a better option. I don't know that there will be. Yeah. Not fantastic, Marcus. Jeff Rogers, Cedric Tillman, Pittman Jr., Keon Coleman, pick one. All available are on the waiver wires. I think I'd have to go with Pittman Jr. now that they have proclaimed that they're going to go with Joe Flacco as their starter. I have to assume that's at least until late season, if nothing else. So that excites me a lot about Pittman Jr. I will take the talent, the experience of Pittman Jr. over Cedric Tillman. I like Cedric Tillman a lot coming out of college. Exciting. Keon Coleman, it's been exciting what's happened the last 2 weeks. But I think Pittman's going to offer you the most upside there. I have Otten and Hawkinson coming back. What should I do at tight end rest of season? Well, generally, I'd say Hawkinson. Obviously, Otten, at least for another week or two until Mike Evans comes back, so possibly longer than that, is in a nice situation there. We'll probably continue to see a pretty steady share of the workload, so he'll probably be better in the short term than Hawkinson, but come playoff time and everything, I think I'd rather have Hawkinson. Of course, he could always be, very limited still coming back. He might not be himself this year. Who knows? So it's not a guarantee with Hawkinson, but Otten, I think, is a shorter, lifespan on him. Mike Evans comes back, I think he'll still be better with, Chris Godwin also being gone, but kind of a normal streamer type of tight end at that point again. 7 leaves design. What is up? Who's the best bench player to stash between Odunze, Jacoby Myers, Pop Douglas, Elijah Moore, or Braylon Allen? Generally speaking, I really like to have the running backs. I think are the best bench players to have. So Braylon Allen in that sense, yeah, I decided I'm okay cutting Odunze for somebody like a Cedric Tillman this week or something like that. Myself, Cedric Tillman's on his second year, is now like the leading receiver on a team. Odunze needs like 2 injuries away from being the leading receiver on that team, but at least 1 injury away from really being able to produce much. I never had much of an expectation of Odunze. It was more of an injury thing and hoping that Caleb Williams comes around. Last week was very concerning for Caleb Williams against that defense, that he didn't have a good week. So out of the wide receivers, I think Jacoby Myers is in the best position. Most talented, most experienced of them. Elijah Moore, he's gotten a lot of targets lately, but Braylon Allen, if you're only 2 running backs deep, I would like to hold on to Braylon Allen if possible, if my wide receiver room is strong enough. If I'm possibly going to be playing one of these guys, Jacoby Myers specifically, then I need help with my wide receiver room, and I'll go with Jacoby Myers there. So hope that helps you out. But yeah, Odunze is on I'm willing to cut Odunze as well, man. I'm probably will. I haven't looked at my waiver wires yet either. I'll do that probably like 1 a.m. before I go to bed, after I get done with part deuce of working for the day. This is considered a break. Working for me is considered a break as well. Because once this video starts rendering, then I'm going to upload it. I would, if it was dead in here, also create my thumbnail for my video for tomorrow morning. I just got done filming my wide receiver video, so that'll come out about 8 a.m., probably Eastern Standard Time tomorrow morning. Shadow XZ, rate this lineup. Okay, so I really don't love rating lineups, so I'll do my best. Jackson, Thomas Jr., Downs, Hunt, Mixon, McBride, Hubbard, Fairburn, Denver defense, bench, Metcalf, Hurts. Your bench, I think, is better than your starters. Pollard, Pacheco on IR, and Harrison. Yeah, you've had some injuries. We'll see if Metcalf can't come back immediately. Okay, so are we talking lineup like this week on the season? I'm just gonna go season long here. So you got Jackson and Hurts. I'm not sure why you got Lamar and Hurts, but obviously that's an A+ quarterback group tandem. You got Thomas Jr. That's worked out well. I think Downs is going to be much better rest of season. So Thomas Jr. is a borderline wide receiver 1 at this point. Metcalf, is obviously in that same discussion, if not better. So very good wide receiver 1 and 2 tandem. And Downs might be a very good flex going forward. Kareem Hunt is, he's a RB2. Mixon's an RB1, so you're sitting good there. And then that means your flex is probably Downs. And then Hubbard, who is, not great, / Pollard / Pacheco, McBride at tight end. I don't know how many people are in your league. If this is a 10-team league, that makes more sense. If this is a 12-team league or larger, it's a very, very good roster. I want to call it an A+ because I don't know what an A+ roster looks like. It looks fantastic, an A+, and I can't say that this isn't. I wouldn't be very excited going forward with this lineup. You're lacking a little bit of punch with that. You don't have one of those top 5 or 6 wide receivers, but you still have 2 borderline ones and Downs, who might be a borderline 2 rest of season, 2 even better than that. So Shadows, I would be very, very excited about the future with that lineup and excited to get Metcalf back as soon as he can go back, Pacheco back, because then Pacheco, Mixon being your 1-2 running back there. Looking pretty nice. Once again, 10-team, 8-team. I don't really know how to grade it against those, but it would make a little bit more sense. So anything above that, loving it. Jeff Rogers. I have Josh Allen at quarterback. His bye week is week 12. Should I get his replacement now? Matt Stafford is on waivers right now. Who does Matt Stafford play in week 12? I don't. It's a little bit early. You don't have to, but if you're in a league where quarterbacks are hoarded, and Matt Stafford, you're looking out there as like the only one that stands out to you, maybe just plan ahead. Matt Stafford. Week 12 goes against Philadelphia, so it's a pretty decent matchup. I do think they're going to continue to get tougher and tougher as the season goes along. I think that defense will improve. So by week 12, it might be even kind of a tougher matchup. But this is an offense that the matchup doesn't matter a whole lot for Stafford. And it definitely offers like a lot of punch in terms of, even if they're a good defense, if their offense is having a big day against against the Rams defense, which it probably will, Stafford's going to be throwing all day and could easily get over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns without sneezing. So, it looks like a good matchup. I have no problem with that if you want to plan ahead. Of course, depends a little bit how much you need to plan ahead. But, yeah, he'd be a good option there. I like it. NMB, 12-team PPR, Superflex, 3 wide receiver. Trying to trade BTJ and Waddle for Nico or Neighbors, but they don't want it. Yeah, I don't think I would do it for either of those. I know I wouldn't for Nico. And I probably wouldn't for Neighbors, because Waddle's just kind of feels like he's never going to break my lineup if I'm somebody. Trade suggestions, NMB, let's see here. Stafford, Bijan, Mason. Well, Mason's no longer really going to be a starter. Probably not, at least. Lamb, Amonra, Cooper Kupp, Kincaid, BTJ, Waddle, Bench, Allen, Benson, Algier, Corum, Vidal. Ooh, you do not have an RB2 right now. Bijan, yeah, Bijan, Mason, Stafford, Allen. NMB, there is a story too. I suck at drawing his. They're a league with a lot of like first time players, and their manager meant to do a 2 quarterback league. I think it was quarterback, but he screwed up and he accidentally did an extra or a 2 flex or a super flex or something like that. Screwed up, put an extra defense on accident in there, and nobody really noticed it at like before drafting, and they didn't fix it because, well, they're all kind of newer and they didn't realize exactly how big of a mistake that was, where they just should have gotten rid of that and just said, okay, we'll do a 2 quarterback or whatever next year, a super flex, so a second super flex spot. Yeah, so Isaac Drawing's now in a league with 2 defenses, and I guess it's made for a lot of silliness, and they've just gone with it. So that's what happened there. NMB, to answer your first question here, I would be looking to find no quarterback to. Don't you have you have Stafford and Allen? Isn't that, is that, was that Braylon Allen? So you just have Stafford? Oh man. Well, I think you got to hope that an injury. Oh man. Lamb, Amonra, Cup, Kincaid, BTJ, Waddle. You might just have to. Well, you got Cup. I mean, I would look at maybe getting rid of a Lamb, Amonra, a Cup. One of those 3, probably Cup, because he's the one that's most likely to be, or Amonra. He still has good trade value, even though he's been a little bit lacking. So one of the Cup or Amonra. I would look to move one of them instead. They have more value, and try to get a running back, and then maybe include Waddle, and try to like upgrade from Waddle just a little pinch and get an RB2. So you should be able to basically get an RB2 and a wide receiver 2 roughly for one of those 2, Amonra or Cup, almost alone, and then Jalen Waddle in there to help make that happen for sure. That's probably what I would do. I think you're going to have to take one of your top weapons there and step it down a notch, which I don't love to do NMB, but that's, I think, the situation you're in. Unfortunately, although you've grabbed all the running backs that you could, nobody's gotten injured to open up one of them being, Algier, Braylon. I mean, I guess they're okay RB2s. You're 7-1. Yeah, man, maybe not. Maybe that's bad advice. I think you just gotta hope for injuries. Until then, I think your RB2 is just gonna have to be like Braylon Allen, Algier, and you hope that you get the 8 points out of him. And work on. I think you're working on the right thing, like the BTJ Waddle or BTJ and one of those running backs for an upgrade at running back, something like that. Is probably what you got to do. Yeah, screw what I was saying originally, because you're so strong at that wide receiver. It makes up for some of that lack of RB2. And since you're 7-1, hopefully that injury will come just in time for the playoffs, and then you got Blake Corum as your RB2 as the starter for the Los Angeles Rams all of a sudden, and bada bing, bada boom, you're back in business. So I would just play it safe there. Wait it out. Yeah, I would keep those wide receivers. Ignore that, what I had said. Second drawing A in my lineup, Darnold, Neighbors, Nuka, Puka, Jones, Hunt, Laporta, Wilson as flex, Chargers, Dallas defense, Jake Bates, bench, Dobbins, Kraft, Mayfield, Bigsby, Mostert, Packers defense. Any changes, trades I could try? Holy cow, man. You got to format that into like quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs or something. I suck at drawing that. There's too many Joneses and Wilsons in the league. From Jake Bates, Dallas defense, Jake Bates is kicker. Okay. Dobbins, running back. Jones, so many Joneses in the NFL any given year. You got to clarify some of that for me so I can go through that a little quicker. Joshua, rate this lineup. Sorry for the question. Yeah, you should be. Starting lineup. Jaden Daniels, Kyron, Mixon as your running backs. Ingram as your tight end. Nico, Debo, Garrett as your wide receivers, along with MHJ, Cyber kicker. Vikings defense. So actually it looks like you might have 2 flexes there. So Garrett, MHJ as your flexes, along with your bench being Tillman, Worthy, McMillan, Douglas. Yeah, so you're just one running back away from hell. Otherwise, it's a really good team. I would sacrifice like Douglas probably. Actually, I would sacrifice Douglas and or McMillan or both or whatever. Get yourself a Blake Corum, Cedric Benson, Kimani Vidal, something on your bench. Uh, just to try and give yourself a little extra running back depth. I know running back depth right now is pretty tough to come by, and running backs are coming back. Heck, maybe you've got somebody on IR there, but with just Kyron and Mixon, that's the issue there. Otherwise, I mean, looks pretty darn solid there. Nico, Debo. So Nico's injured right now. He'll be coming back. Yeah, you definitely got the wide receiver depth down. And you got JD5 and Love. Maybe you could even trade Love or JD5. Probably Love and, even like Tillman. Just flip them right away. Or Worthy for some sort of running back. A little help there. Something, Joshua, to plan ahead. Look for our team if there's somebody with a lot of running backs. Is what I would be doing. But otherwise, it's a strong starting lineup. And you have great wide receiver depth, but your running back depth obviously does not exist. Looking to trade Worthy and Tillman for Olave. Interesting. I mean, I don't think that's a bad trade, Joshua. And then that opens up a little bit of room to get a running back on the roster there. Austin, what up, homie? How's it going? Added Ridley from the wire, hopefully. Also, that's awesome that Ridley was out there. I can't believe Ridley would be out there after they traded away Hopkins and nobody picked them up before. Unless somebody dropped him, like, in time where nobody could pick him up. Also, DK or Reed, rest of season? DK, rest of season, my man. Reed's very, very... he doesn't get, he gets about a third of the targets as DK. Olave is a great buy low, potential wide receiver 1 in fantasy, if not a high-end wide receiver 2. So I met Braylon Allen. NMB, one thing I will say about BTJ is it pretty much seems to be matchup proof already, which is crazy. I'm 4-4, but I don't have to do one chip because I'm in 5th. Yeah, your one chip challenge. All right, quarterback, you got Darnold and Baker. Running backs, you've got Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, Raheem Mostert, Tank, Bigsby, Kareem Hunt. So Kareem Hunt at the top of that backup running back list there. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Malik Neighbors, Garrett Wilson on fleeks. Okay, Garrett Wilson, Neighbors, Puka, tight end. You got Laporta and Tucker so you even have some flex backup ability even from your tight end position there, which makes up for a little bit of lack of depth of wide receiver. I don't know what you could do with this roster, really. I mean, you can't really trade high or low on a Jones, a Dobbins, and make that make sense very much. Along with Kareem Hunt, you got Bigsby, you got Mostert there in case of emergency. Wilson's very nice. Puka's really nice. Neighbors really nice. Puka's really nice. And then you got Laporta and Kraft. So I don't really see too much, trade ability there. Second drawing, I feel like it's just something you kind of got to rock with. Defense, you got... See, that would be the one thing I don't care to hold on to two defenses if there's something available wide receiver depth-wise, even running back depth-wise, but I'd say wide receiver before that for your team. I would rather have that wide receiver depth than defensive depth. Defenses are just too unpredictable and streamable. But that is right. You do have your two defensive league, so you only got one on the bench there. You're holding on 3. And was it your league that you got like a 5 max or something? No, that was somebody else. Kicker Jake Bates. Okay, so no backup kicker. That's good. Green Bay, Dallas, Chargers. I don't know. Is the rest of your league also like... We also have 1 flex spot. Is the rest of your league like hoarding DSTs? Is there basically like 5 on the waiver wire? Joshua, glad that we could sync up on the thoughts there. NMB, where do you have BTJ rest of season? Think he'll do even better with Kirk out? Well... I think it hurts the offense as a whole, so I think it makes it a little less likely that he gets like touchdowns. I just don't know, like that it's a measurable percentage less likely. And really, the competition targets wise was between Ingram and Ridley, so it doesn't concern me too much for BTJ in general. Once again, maybe lowers that ceiling just a little bit because it's one less weapon for that offense to use. Joshua, $2. Thank you very much, Joshua. You're a king. Trade Garrett plus Worthy plus Tillman. I will get right back with that. I'll finish that up a little bit and then clean up that thought. Garrett plus Worthy plus Tillman for Metcalf and Bowers. Garrett, Worthy, Tillman. I think that's a fine, solid trade there. That seems good enough to me. You got the wild card in Tillman. Obviously, he could be great rest of the season. That's always possible. Worthy's turning things around a little bit, but I think he's still going to be, in general, quite boom or bust. McCaffrey's a stud. You're getting rid of 3 wide receivers, down to 1. So, obviously, I assume Joshua, from what I recall, you've got the wide receiver depth. Was it just a little bit of running back depth you needed or something? Or I don't recall. Joshua, looking to trade Worthy and Tillman. Where is that roster? It's higher up. It's higher up. Oh, shoot. All right, there's the lineup. You had Kyron Mixon. Yeah, so you're not fixing the running back issue, but you are opening up a little bit of room for that, too. So you're going to get somebody off of the waiver wire. So it's Metcalf plus Bowers plus a backup running back, which you desperately need. I assume that's what you'll get off of the waiver wire. Yeah, what was your tight end situation there? Ingram? Yeah, see, getting rid of those 3. Hold up now. Okay, you got Nico coming back soon. You got Debo. Wow, might be injured. Garrett, MHJ. You're getting rid of Garrett, and then you got McMillan and Douglas. But when healthy, you're going to have Debo, Nico, DK, MHJ. Oh, I don't know. That feels a little rich for me, Joshua. I feel like I don't know that Garrett's that much worse than Metcalf rest of season, right? But I don't want to overrate how he's done for the first 2 games with Devontae back. Oh, I don't know, guys. What do you think of Joshua's trade? Would you do it? This would free up space, and I could grab Corum. Bowers, though, is a step. I mean, it is like a. Can you do Ingram instead of like Tillman there? Is that possible? If you could do Garrett, Worthy, Ingram for Metcalf and Bowers, like I feel like I would rather do that and just keep that wild card of Tillman in case he is really good rest of the season. Or keep Worthy, depending. Maybe that person wants Tillman more. That's the one piece I'm wondering if you could maybe do that. Swing that instead. Go Ingram for Bowers. Because you really don't need those 2 tight ends. But you're not going to be dropping Ingram anytime soon either. Oh. So you're kind of going 2 pieces out. Okay, one moment. Bowers, based on this trade chart, you could probably get like what? Bowers and McMillan might be able to get you there. Tight ends are tough to trade. Yeah, I mean, just keep this in mind. You might be stuck having to get Javonte Williams, a Chase Brown, a Kareem Hunt, a Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris type instead of a James Conner. But if you know the team, you know what maybe James Conner you're specifically targeting for a reason. If you're making multiple moves yet here, I mean, it's okay. Like I said, it feels a little bit rich for me. Let's see what this chart has to say, because I feel like Garrett and DK Metcalf aren't really like that far apart. So let's see. This one's got about a 6-point spread between the two, which is worthy alone. Then Bowers. Well, this trade chart has it being about right for value. Yeah, I mean, it's close, Josh, but if you got plans there for Bowers, turn that into a running back, and then you'll still have those 4. If you think that's going to be easier, make it easier for you to flip something into a running back there, go for it. And you can't get rid of Ingram then, I guess, because he's got Kelsey, and he feels better now about Kelsey. Yeah, if you like it, go for it. It's close. It's close. I think I value Garrett a little bit more than a lot of people do. I'm a little bit less like I kind of like the fact that Devontae was Adam, and so far in 2 weeks, it has worked out pretty nicely for him. So that's just the thoughts on that one. All right, let's see here. So second draw, BTJ rest of season. So amongst, it's pretty high. Yeah, I would say right around top 15-ish rest of season. Right around that spot. I don't keep like a live rest of season chart, but that'd be around that area. I'm sure there might be a few guys that would maybe be a surprise in there, maybe push it back a little ways. But I'm looking at this chart and like Deebo Samuel, him, that makes some sense. Wilson and him makes some sense. But Devonta Smith, like I think I like Brian Thomas Jr. more than Devonta Smith. Chris Olave, I'd say at least on par, if not more than Chris Olave. Amari Cooper probably more than him. Adams, they're close. McLaurin probably not. Pickens, I think yes, more. T. Higgins, probably pretty close. And then that's going to bring us up to about a pretty consensus top 10-ish guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys for sure ahead of them. Anywhere from like 12 to 18, depending on the day, probably, is about where I'd rank them rest of season NMB. Last week put up 120 and still lost one of my leagues. Yeah. It's a good number, but it'll get you a win most of the time if you're in the 120s in like half PPR leagues at least. But definitely not always. The guy had a Lamb, but won in another 2 leagues, so pretty solid. Nice job. I had one league I fell just short. It sucks because my team did bad, but my opponent did really bad too. And ultimately, if Jordan Mason had just made it for 1 quarter, I would have won. But nope, couldn't even make it a drive. Would you trade Pickens for Deontay Johnson? Oh, jeez. I'd think about it. You're the Pickens owner? Man, I might regret it, but I think I would because I wouldn't even have Pickens. I'm not a big Pickens believer for fantasy. I think he's a really talented wide receiver. But I also think there's a lot of issues between the quarterback, the system, him, that get in the way of him being a good fantasy wide receiver. And also prevent him from taking the next step up in real football that would help him in fantasy as well, of just, being that dominant number 1 kind of guy that 12 targets go his way. He just isn't that right now in his career, and I don't know if he's going to get to that. So, it's obviously a big risk, and, Baltimore 1A to 1B probably situation there is still probably only good for about 8 targets a game, and that might be a little iffy, but that's still better than Pickens in terms of targets per game. ADOT's going to be lower, but I mean, I think I would probably do it because I would just rather the consistency. I'd take a risk on it, and I know that I might end up regretting it. You don't like the Ravens trade for it? Well, it's just like they didn't trade much for it. Ooh, the Vikings are adding a new left tackle. They retired Cam Robinson from the Jags. So are the Jags just calling it a season? Wow. So the Vikings are getting after it. Jags have given up. I'm looking for that trade value text I have. I don't know where it was. I don't think there's like much risk at all for the Ravens. It makes them much more dangerous. So I love it for them. They're Super Bowl ready now. Someone offered Garrett Wilson for Brock Bowers. Yes, good trade. Wilson's definitely more valuable than Brock Bowers. Also, if I was to pick up a wide receiver, who should I pick up? Myers, Josh Downs, Darnell Mooner. Probably Mooney here. Gordon Sutton, Ladd McConkey. Wow, you got a lot of options there. I think I would go with Darnell Mooney over Jacoby, over Josh Downs, over Cortland Sutton, over Ladd, over Juan. That's tough, though. A lot of options there, I suck at drawing. Really good options. Darnell Mooney is going to be possibly a little bit boomer bust, but also possibly the one that puts up the most points rest of season. Jacoby Myers, definitely boomer bust, but also right there in the running for most points rest of season. But worse quarterback situation, so worse offense. The ceiling definitely doesn't exist as much as Darnell Mooney's does. Just his target share is a little bit more guaranteed, but doesn't mean that that's going to get him too far. Josh Downs, much better situation. It could be a mistake not buying into that, just like it could be a mistake not buying into Ladd McConkey. Cortland Sutton, I mean, he's in that conversation with Jacoby and Darnell. Is like, I mean, they're clearly good options. Wandale's the guy who I'm cool not grabbing out of that group. That's I suck at drawing. That's quite the group of guys to be able to choose from. If you could just stream between them, that'll work. Also on waiver, Cedric Tillman, Jackson Smith, Jerry Jeudy, DeAndre Hopkins, Keon Coleman, Jordan Addison. Yeah, so your wide receiver bench is like stacked. So you can basically just stream. So I would honestly, out of those wide receivers, I would probably just, if you need one of them for this week to start, possibly, I'd go that route. If you're looking for ultimate upside long term, I guess I would go Josh Downs, followed by Ladd McConkey a little bit. Jackson Smith and Jigma's a good. I mean, it's like a draw. It's loaded there. Traveris Ward lost his 1-year-old daughter? No way. Dude. Yikes. I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, that's terrible. Wow. He's a young man, too. That's got to be so freaking rough. Ouch. Yeah. Best of wishes to their entire family. That's shitty as all hell. Joshua, you're welcome. Austin, I don't like the Ravens trade. Austin, where is this? I like it for the Ravens. I don't like it for Deontay's. What fantasy value? That's what I ask you. What value did he have in fantasy that he loses? This chart's, even with Baltimore, well, I guess I can't look at that. All right. She's going up against the Jets, Raiders, Titans, which are all top 5. Yeah, we went over that, I think, NMB recently about his playoff. Augusto Keshishin. My running backs are Hall, Kamara, Chase Brown, Dobbins, Hunt, and Chubb. Your wide receivers are London, Neighbors, Ridley, Deontay Johnson. Jennings, why is that not ringing a bell? I know who it is, but I can't think of it. And my tight end, Bowers and Hawkinson. What would you give up for McLaurin? Okay, well, let me clarify in my head who Jennings is. Juwan Jennings, of course. Can you give up Juwan Jennings for McLaurin? Let's see. So you got Deontay, you got Ridley, you've got Neighbors, you got London. Can we capitalize off of Ridley and give, like, let's see here, for McLaurin? How? Calvin really not on this wide receiver. Okay. Ridley's got to have some value, right? Let's just give him the lowest amount of value on this chart then. Could you do Ridley and Chase Brown? Would that get you McLaurin? Probably not, right? Ridley and Kareem Hunt? Maybe? Ridley and... this all might be tough to do. Might have to get rid of Deontay Johnson. So, like, Deontay Johnson or Ridley and Chase Brown. Dobbins, Hunt. Specifically, Chase Brown preferably, Hunt second preferably, maybe first preferably, Dobbins third preferably. Chuba Hubbard if you could get rid of him. But I think you gotta get rid of I think you gotta give up a little bit more for Chuba. So I'm looking at for McLaurin. I mean, it's not gonna be. There's definitely no guarantee you can get him, I would say. But I would be willing to give up anything that's not Neighbors, Hall. I suppose I'd be willing to give up, like, Kamara. Maybe straight up. You got Brown, Dobbins, Hunt, Chubb. Could you give up, like, Kamara and... Let's see how this would work. Let's say the McLaurin owner also had Brian Robinson Jr. Could you give up Kamara and Calvin Ridley and, like, Chase Brown for Brian Robinson Jr. and McLaurin? I'd like to do something like that. You could give up Kamara straight up for McLaurin, or you could hope that they'll accept, once again, something with Chase Brown, Dobbins, Hunt, and Ridley or Deontay involved there. Yep, there you go. Good stuff. Freezy Fantasy. Trade James Conner and Terry for Dobbins and London. Conner and Terry McLaurin for Dobbins and Drake London. I don't think I would like to do that, Freezy. I think I would just sit tight. If you're the one activating this trade, like, if you want Dobbins and London more than Conner and Terry, go right ahead and do it. You know, it's a fair trade, I would say. But to me, if I had Conner and Terry, I don't feel like I'm getting better by getting Dobbins and London. In fact, I feel like I might be getting a little less consistent with Dobbins and London than Conner and Terry, which I don't want to get less consistent. So, personally. So, it's your call. I think it's an even trade either way, but I would not be actively going out to make it happen. I'll tell you that much. Would you trade Flowers for Montgomery? Probably would. Depends my roster, Smitty, but yes, definitely wouldn't be opposed to it. Yeah, I mean, Montgomery's somebody you might be able to buy low on right now. All right, I guess buy low on. I mean, he didn't have a terrible week. I'll just stream the best matchup this week, but I think my 3 wide receivers are better, right? Yes. What's up, Cross? How's it going? Trade Puka and JT for Cup and Bijan. See, it sounds like it's the better trade, right? Because you think Cup's better than Puka, probably, and you think Bijan's better than JT, probably, but I don't actually know that that's the case. So you're trading for Cup and Bijan crossed. This is going to be similar to what I just said for the Freezy fantasy trade. Like, I would not be going out and actively trying to make this trade happen because I would be too afraid that I'm going to screw up and get the wrong end of this deal. It seems pretty fair. I think most people have Puka actually ranked ahead of Cup rest of season. And I think JT has performed better than Bijan, and his value is definitely not more. You know, most people I think would rank Bijan higher than JT. I think. I don't know. Let me see this. What's this chart do? Yeah, this chart's got Bijan a little ways ahead. Me myself, I wouldn't. I think there's a solid chance that Puka. I agree, I guess, with people about Puka over Cup rest of season. Hesitantly agree with that, and I don't know that JT's worse to have, and they just got a better quarterback there, which will ultimately should open up that running game a little bit more, because Richardson just wasn't bringing enough rushing attack anyways to help make improve that running game as well himself. Because you can, running quarterback always helps the running back out, but I don't think he was quite running enough of a threat to really open things up for JT at the end of the day, because he just wasn't enough of a threat in the passing game. So, crossed? Not really. What we drop McMillan for Xavier Legette or hold McMillan? I think I'd rather take the shot on Xavier Legette. See what happens. He's built like a wide receiver one at least. I didn't love him coming out of the draft. I'm not a huge believer in Xavier Legette, but he's going to get an opportunity here. McMillan, I just, I don't really see the same amount of upside. He got taken 3-4 rounds later. Maybe it wasn't quite that much, 2 or 3 to 4 rounds later for a reason. Legette's going to have an opportunity. I don't know that he'll stand up to it, but if he does, he could end up being, very helpful down the stretch, as I would say a borderline wide receiver 2, which McMillan I think is a borderline wide receiver 3 at best, and then that's really until Mike Evans comes back, and then I don't know that he's even that, which might only be another week. I'm just saying there were better places he could have went to, like the Texans with a serious need of what? Yeah, but Baltimore got him. The heck was that? Yeah, in terms of fantasy value, I was talking about specifically Austin. Better than Jordan Addison, yes. That's true. I appreciate your time and effort, man. Keep it up. Appreciate you, NMB. No problem. I got to get back to work soon, so glad that we are getting to an end here. He said 3 solid games. Yes, I know he hasn't had none, Austin, but it's also been very hard to predict, and on that offense, maybe a little bit lucky. This person said Deontay Johnson's value drops after trade to Ravens. So, there you go. I don't agree with that myself. I don't know that it gets a whole lot better. I don't know that it gets a whole lot worse myself. I think he has a much higher chance of getting 10 touchdowns now than he did before. I think his chance of getting 10 touchdowns rest of the season was, or let's say 8 touchdowns rest of the season was 0% with Carolina. It's much higher than that. Now, touchdowns go a long ways in fantasy. Can I trade McConkey for Chubb? I feel like I'm giving up league winner. For Nick Chubb? For McConkey? I'd probably rather not. I don't know. Like, that Cleveland offensive line has not been very good this year. So you feel like you're giving up the league winner in McConkey? Is that what you're saying? I don't know that McConkey's going to have that much upside because the Chargers are still going to want to run the ball a lot. Deontay Johnson wasn't available for this last week's game, which I think McConkey's better than him, but that also could be, could have helped him get a little bit of that work. It was also one big play, really, right, that did a lot of that work for McConkey, unless I'm thinking of somebody else, but I think he had one big pass play. So I don't quite think... I think there's a potential that McConkey could be a league winner. I just don't quite think it's the most likely scenario, I suppose. But I also don't have extremely high hopes for Nick Chubb. So, let's see. Can I trade McConkey for Chubb? You could. I don't think I would. Yeah. Austin saying, honestly, don't do that. Yeah, like, I don't think I would. I know what you're trying to do, you know? Everybody knows what you're trying to do with that trade, but you know it's yourself. Like, what are the odds of it actually happening? I don't know. I don't know for Nick Chubb. I don't love it. All right. I just wanted to pop in, say hello. I think this is much more effective in general to stream than it is to make my waiver wire videos. So I'll try to do this more regularly and be available for waiver wire questions and other questions. It's just that Tuesdays are very, very busy for me. Like I said, I'm going to get back to work for the next 4 to 5 hours and then wake up early and get back to work for the next 8 hours tomorrow straight before I am caught up with a lot of my stuff. So I think we'll call it there. Appreciate you all for stopping on through. Yeah, see, look, I'm on here for 45 minutes, and my video that I made that went online earlier today has, I think, the same amount of likes as this stream. All right. Have a good one, guys. I will see you Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget on Saturday to come if you want to win $10. I'll be doing another $10 giveaway on that stream. So, peace out.